So let's get into the next guy and team, and that is my guy DeVonta Smith. There's this picture floating around. I don't know if you guys saw the picture. I should find it, and I know I can do my screen share right here, but there's a picture floating around of DeVonta Smith. And I know I've been a guy, I'm like wide receiver one. There's nothing he can't do. Like, dude is terrific at all levels of the field, plays big. And when I mean plays big, I mean at the catch point, I don't know if there's anybody better at the catch point than DeVonta Smith. I mean, he was that good catching the ball at his highest point, that he played through contact extremely well. He's a guy that's very fluid and sudden at the line of scrimmage, knows how to get skinny and do all these great things. Like, and it's like, okay, he's skinny, but you got to show me on film where that was an issue. Like that's always been my thing with DeVonta Smith and how he's talked about. Show me on film where DeVonta Smith is, his weight or lack thereof is an issue. And you can't. You can't. Now, there might be a rep where you show me, well, he got pressed up right here. Look at this. And you might attribute that to his weight. But then I'll show you 20 reps of Jamar Chase getting pressed. And are you going to say because it's because of his weight? So I'll say all that to say his weight has not been an issue, and I want to make sure I make that clear. But the Eagles posted a picture of him, and it didn't do him any justice. And my initial reaction is, damn, this looks like my son D. And my son D, he's a skinny dude. He's a little skinny dude. You know what I'm saying? He's an 8th grader going into 9th grade, late bloomer, hasn't hit that growth spurt yet. But I'm looking at DeVonta Smith. I'm like, how is this dude so skinny? Like, how is he that skinny? He had a jersey. The sleeves are cut, all right? And even with the sleeves being cut, they still were like loose, like long sleeves on them. And I'm like, man, this dude needs to get some. They need to shove down a few protein shakes down my man's throat, man. Like, but again, I don't want to say that his weight's an issue because to this point, it has not shown to be any type of issue. And he's everything that I want to see, I think he does extremely well, but he's dumbass skinny. He is. And we knew that. But to see that picture, I was just like, that's like a different type of skinny. You know what I'm saying? But so I'm not saying I'm worried about it. I'm just saying they got to help my guy somehow. And then I started to look like, okay, we got DeVonta Smith. I think he's going to do well. I think he's a terrific receiver, obviously. And he's playing with his old quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Who else do the Eagles have? So I started doing a little digging. All right. And I look at some of the guys that they have. They just drafted Jalen Reagor. We'll see what happens with him. He's been a guy who has been somewhat, inconsistent, I guess, and then kind of dealt with some, nagging injuries and things like that. I liked Reagor coming out. He was like my wide receiver 7 or 8 that year. So, I like his ability and what he can be. Sounds like they're playing him more in the slot. We'll see how that whole thing turns out. So I like Reagor. And then after Reagor is like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and it's like, I don't like that. Crazy thing about Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the very next pick. So there was the next receiver taken. So the Eagles took Reagor. The next pick, Justin Jefferson. The Vikings took Justin Jefferson. So you look at that, and it's like, ooh, kind of missed on that. Then the year before, they picked J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and like the next receiver taken was like DK Metcalf. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how did you guys whiff this bad? I'll tell you this, and I guess I could say it now because this coach isn't with the team, but they had a receiver coach, and he messaged me, and he said, hey, have you watched Jalen Reagor and Justin Jefferson? And this is the Eagles receiver coach. Have you watched Jalen Reagor and Justin Jefferson? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I will, and I'll give you my notes on them. So I watched them. I watched the guys, and I gave them my notes. And my notes was that I like both guys, but if I had to pick between one or the other, I would pick Justin Jefferson. And obviously that kind of played out in my rankings. I had Jefferson as wide receiver 3. And you look at it now, and it's just like, damn, probably should have listened to Croc. They went with the other guy. Now, when he was asking me this, I'm not thinking that maybe they're thinking about choosing between the two guys. I was just, giving my opinion. And sounds like I was more right than them. And I'm not saying I'm always right, but at least in that situation I was. So you look at that, and you look at J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and DK Metcalf was my wide receiver 1 and was the 9th receiver taken. That's crazy. But J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. And then after that, Fulgham. Now, Fulgham did catch the game-winning touchdown against the 49ers. So you got to give him a little bit of props. I think for the most part, a guy that came out of like a small school, a guy who's probably undrafted, practice squad type player. I think you look at that, and he was somebody who played. He's carving out a role for himself on the roster. But it's kind of a depleted roster. And then you continue to go. Case Watkins, he was a speedster but late round pick. Greg Ward and Khalil Tate. Greg Ward, that was probably Carson Wentz's best receiver when Carson Wentz was playing. You know what I'm saying? Like Greg Ward, he was a quarterback at Houston. And then you look at Khalil Tate, and I wrote his name down, and I didn't Google this, but was Khalil Tate the quarterback from Arizona? And he's now a receiver? So you got two receivers that were quarterbacks. All right. You got skinny man DeVonta Smith, who I really like, and I think he's going to be really good. But gosh, can you gain a little bit of weight? And again, I'm not big on the whole gaining weight thing, because I think that takes away from who you are. But damn, you're skinny. All right. He knows that. I'm sure he knows that. They got to do a little something about it. I don't think it'd be an issue, but I just have to say it. And then, it's just Rager, Arcega-Whiteside, Fulgham, Watkins, Greg Ward, Khalil Tate. Like, that has to be the worst receiving core in the NFL. And I don't think highly of the 49ers receiving core. But at least, with the 49ers, you at least have George Kittle. With the Eagles, they don't even want hurt Zach Ertz. Who's the other guy? Didn't he get hurt? The other tight end. He's good. Can't think of his name right now, but I know he's good. But that's scary, kind of looking at that group. And I wanted to kind of talk about the last thing was to kind of get into DeVonta Smith being skinny and why, to me, it's not as big of an issue. All right. Me, I was kind of a bigger corner, talking about 6'1", close to 200 pounds, right? So I was a bigger, more aggressive guy. I wanted to be aggressive with you at the line of scrimmage. The DeVonta Smiths of the world are the hardest guys to press. So when I kind of tweet out that picture of him looking really skinny, if you guys haven't, go to my Twitter page, you'll see it. I wonder if I can share it, my Twitter. I'll find that picture. All right. But when you look at that picture and it's like, damn, he's skinny. Somebody commented underneath him was just like, he, what was the comment? It basically like he's going to get pressed up. And my thing was, those are the hardest guys to press because, Dallas Goedert, excuse me, that's the other tight end. So these guys, and I'm going to share my screen now. Here we go. Let's see. Chrome tab. All right. Can y'all see that right there? All right. So this is the picture right here where I was just like, damn, he's skinny. All right. So the DeVonta Smiths of the world, man, those are the hardest guys to cover. They are the hardest guys to cover because when you're at the line of scrimmage and he's right there in front of you, right? And you want to be patient with your feet and everything like that. But when you see a guy like that, that's that skinny, it's like, now I want to muscle this guy, right? Like I want to get my hands on him and I want to control him. But what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of times if you shoot, especially if you shoot both hands, your feet stop. And once your feet stop, you kind of lock your hips. When you go to shoot both hands against a guy like DeVonta Smith, who is quick and fluid at the line of scrimmage and knows how to get skinny, if you don't get hands on him, it's over. It's over from there. So, yes, he is a guy that when you get hands on, you can have your way with him. But he's also a guy that more times than not, you're gonna probably you might miss, especially if you try overly hard, because then everything else messes up. Again, you end up stopping your feet, you end up locking your hips, and then what happens is when the receiver goes, you end up getting in kind of this chase mode, and now your time clock gets sped up. When your time clock gets sped up, all your technique goes out the window. All right, your technique goes out. Now you're not reading down the receiver. Now you're not looking, at his body and everything. Like you are now looking at. I'm in survival mode, and your technique all goes out the window. So now if he sits down on the route, you're gonna keep going upfield. He's gonna sit down, and it's gonna be easy pitch and catch. So I know it looks crazy because he is so skinny and whatnot. But I'm telling you, a lot of times those are the hardest guys to press.